Can you hear me? Mike, if you'll make sure just by putting a note in the chat, then I'll know if I'm actually really live. Hi. Okay, I'm seeing some hearts, so we're probably good. All right. So thank you for coming. This is new for me. And usually I do these types of calls on instant teleseminar, so it's voice only. So I do find the picture is a little on the distracting side, but I'm going to do my best here. So thank you for coming. And before we get into the crux of this, I'd like to ask everyone just to take a minute and drop into your heart and hold some loving energy for the folks in Texas right now. Some of those people and the animals there certainly suffered a lot overnight. So if we can just do that before we begin, that would be great. So when you settle into your heart, go ahead and see. You can use like the color pink, you can use white light, whatever feels right to you, because different energies will resonate differently for different people. So whatever's right for you, use that. And then I'd like you to expand it. No matter how small the flame is that originally shows, go ahead and expand it. Allow it to grow, allow it to be as big as it wants to be, and put that good intention on the people suffering in Texas, and then take it a step further. Allow that energy to go to all those who are suffering planet-wide. Now, I know we've had a lot of crazy news lately, and the exercise I've just given you is a helpful one, but I want to take it further. I want to go into your alignment. I want to go into what makes our current human experiment easier to handle, easier to be with, helps us become healthier, wiser, more compassionate, and have the ability to actually make a difference. I was doing a little meditating earlier, and I've mentioned in my other groups that we're at this zero point in our world right now. A lot of things are beginning again, like a new age has dawned. So we get to create. Our creative ability will be stronger now than it's been, and it will make more of a difference now than it has probably in your lifetime. So we're going to focus a lot on how to put in something positive in this big stream of humanity that we're all existing in. So when I was reading the spaghetti strings, which is the best I think anybody can do, I can guess a few things and I can tell you the probabilities of a few things, but at this moment, I couldn't give you excellent dates for when things will get better. And that's probably a really good thing. And I'll tell you why. Because sometimes a really good prophecy or a really accurate psychic prediction will have everybody say, oh, that's handled. I don't have to do anything. Well, that prediction may have been predicated on what you were going to do before you decided you didn't need to do anything. And if you've ever had a lot of readings where someone suggested something was going to happen to you and then it didn't happen that way at all, it very well might have been because you shifted your intention. The trajectory you are currently on shifted. You decided you didn't need to do it anymore because it was just going to happen. So that's one of these tenuous things I want you to be aware of. How energy works, how what you do makes a difference. And this time, every thought, every word is like a prayer to the universe, more than usual. And if you're on a spiritual journey, you're in that space of instant karma. meaning whatever you put out is coming back. And people who haven't really dedicated themselves to that type of journey, it may not come back very instantly at all. But you, if you've started that journey, what you put out, you get. So it's so important that we are aware of how creativity works, how your influence makes a difference to your experience. So go ahead and take some breaths here. And I ask you to breathe through your nose and out your mouth. And if you put the attention on the back of your throat, that will help relax your throat. Your breathing will be easier. You will be more in sync with your parasympathetic nervous system, meaning your vagus nerve is going to relax a little bit. So go ahead and breathe. I'm hoping that this helps settle you, right? One of the things that happens when people start really understanding how all of their thoughts and actions make the difference and help create their world is they kind of go into this beating themselves up when they notice that they're not in an excellent state of mind. Like maybe they're in let's blame other people for what's going on, or I'm really angry, or I'm in a rage, or I'm in this memory of something that happened before and I'm not in a great space, but I'm putting that out there. I'm throwing that out into the world. And what I want you to do is remember that all you have to do is turn on the light, not to suppress what you're thinking or feeling, but to move it into a healing and transmutation. This is who you are. You're going to change. You need to change. We all do. And the world is asking for about, I think it was 7%. 7% of those people on a spiritual journey are going to be putting a great deal of effort into the world right now, how things are being created, what happens next, and their influence is going to make all the difference in the world. Now, are you one of those people? Are you one of those 7% that are going to make a huge difference? Or are you one of another group that will begin to make a difference, that will begin to put better energy out there? And for all groups, for everyone doing whatever you're drawn to do, we're all going to change. We're all going to evolve because we're in spiritual evolution. And don't fool yourself. You never get there. It's a constant shift. Humanity is just at the baby steps of acceptance, unconditional love, and how to live cooperatively in a healthy community. And that's our next step. That's what we're here to do. So let's see. Oh, loud buzz. I don't know what to do about the loud buzz, but I'm going to ask Mike. Oh, you know what? I bet I know what that is. Sorry. It's my headset, probably. All right. So that'll probably help. It'll be a while. It'll be a little blinking, beeping first, but then it will get better. All right. Let's see. I wrote some notes. You can throw some questions at me if you want on the chat. I did get a couple of questions that came in for our group, and I will weave that in to what we're talking about. So I want to talk a little bit about this attitude that we all need for our growth, our shift, and what we're putting into the big stream of life here. And it sounds so trite, especially when you're in a terrible place. But the attitude of gratitude is extraordinarily powerful. It shifts you, it shifts the people around you. And it gets you in this stream of giving. And when you're giving, you're also opening the receiving, right? So if you're giving to receive, that doesn't really work the same because you're not using the same energy, right? That's you know, that's exchange. That's not the same thing as gratitude or actual giving. So, if you're new at this, an excellent way to do giving is to give to animals who do not give back in the same way, or to give anonymously. That's also very helpful to help get that energy flowing. Um, Also, to give into situations that are not at all with the ability to give anything back to you, right? So all of that helps jumpstart your ability to get into the flow. So what is flow? So right now, if you turn on the news, if you observe, quite a bit of what's happening in the world, you get a lot of how humans are working with each other. There's a sense of distrust. There's a sense of get them before they get you. There's a sense of dominance. I must be dominant in order for to feel loved or powerful or important. There's an awful lot of that energy in the United States right now. So how does that change? How does how do we improve that? Well, those that energy exists on a type of grid, right? It's a grid system. The way that we interact together. It's not exactly like a spider web, but it's this fine filament of energy in the way that people are together. And an overlay of that is a more refined type of grid system. This is one of unconditional love. It's one of acceptance. It's one of community. It's one of helping others is the same as helping myself. Helping someone else means that I have contributed and I'm growing this grid. The other system is completely self-destructive. It can't last. It doesn't enhance all the people on the grid. It exists where some people are takers, some people might be givers, but it's not healthy. So the next system is the one that I want to talk to you about, and one of the fastest ways to engage with that is to be in an attitude of gratitude. What is it I'm thankful for? And get very simplistic with this. I'm thankful that I'm able to breathe. I'm thankful that the air is clean today. I'm thankful that the oceans are still operating on a tidal system. I'm thankful dolphins are still swimming. Find what it is you're thankful for. And in the beginning, you might actually not feel gratitude. You're just practicing to ramp yourself up into it, but you'll get there. Now, having a gratitude journal is really important if you're in a depressed state, a grieving state. Just even sticky notes where you're writing down, I'm grateful for this today. I watched this on television. I felt this. Thank you. Right? So you're building that within you. And when you build it within you, you build your ability to connect with a greater good, with a greater community, and with that higher energy system where there is a nourishing quality between peoples. And I think we need about 7% of the people to commit to that, to commit to moving towards that, to believe in that, and to dedicate each day to it to at least some degree. Now, in order to gain in our spiritual growth, something has to give up. And those are our lower level patterns. So let's talk about patterns. What are those? That was one of the questions that I had today. Um, and um, I'll use myself as an example. So I have had situations and relationships where, with friends, family, everything, where I would give and I would give, and I expected improvement in these other people that I was giving to, and sometimes that just wasn't going to happen. And what were they teaching me? They were teaching me that it had nothing to do with them or me. It really had to do with that attitude that I needed to create. That my being good or kind to other people wasn't the point at all. The point was to grow to this ability to accept people where they are, to be okay with that, to love them anyway, and to also love myself and realize I can't change anyone who doesn't want to change. That's a huge lesson for most of us. Now, there are other situations where we want someone to love us. We need them to love us, particularly if it was a parent. We need that other person to love us, to validate who we are. And so we go back to someone who will not validate us, who will not truly accept us for who we are, because they need us to be something for them that we are not. And so they're looking for something different, and you're looking for something they can't give. And it's never going to be this high grid system that I'm talking about, right? It's not going to ever be that. It's not even going to come close to it. So the best thing in those situations is to take a step back, find out what you need, which might be validation, which might be self-esteem, which might be acceptance, self-love, acknowledgement, and find a way to give it to yourself. And that's going to be very awkward, because if a parent never gave it to you, you don't have the pattern at all. Your job is to create that pattern. Now, doing that, you end up with a purity, a very pure system, because you put the work in. You have found that inner masculine, that inner feminine that can give you what your parents couldn't. So take a breath again. And what is it that you need? Do you need to be acknowledged? Do you need someone to recognize your value? Go ahead and find that part that needs that. Might be this little piece of light that's dimmed a bit, but go ahead and find it and give it what it needs. And that's going to be unconditional love. That's going to be acceptance for the life it's lived, for the suffering it's endured, that you have endured. And go ahead and hold that loving light. Go ahead and hold it the same way you did for the children in Texas and their families. If you know me, you know I work with rose gold light a lot. Rose gold is excellent in helping to strip away the codependence, to strip away the unhealthy relationships, and help you really focus in on the light within. Because it's within. So this light exists within you, your soul, and it exists everywhere in this universe. If you came from a channeling background, you may have the orientation that it's all up there and you're going to call it down to you, which is absolutely valid. There is one power in this universe, one. If you allow yourself to think in a dual system, like there is good and there is evil and they're constantly battling, you're going to be a little crazy, because that is not an easy thing to hold in your mind or in your body or in your spirit. Think of it as there is only one power, and sometimes it's misused, and that's what we call evil. Sometimes people misuse that energy or use it in a way that helps them but no one else. But if it's not helping anyone else, it's probably not helping them ultimately either. It just might seem that way depending on what you're looking at, right? If you're just measuring money, that might look like success, but it's an actual shallow success. It's so much easier to think of the good in the world as one power, and sometimes people misuse it. Because then all you have to do is think of misused energy as something that reverts back to a good flow of energy. And that's the same for the parts within us, our soul parts that may have disintegrated, right? They can come back into wholeness. And that's healing. Okay. So anything we put out in the world comes back. I think I mentioned this earlier. If you're on a spiritual journey, you're going to have very instant karma. It's going to happen fast to you. And for people who haven't started that journey, it might take a long time, but don't get involved in when they're going to get theirs, right? It's a law of the universe. It's going to come back. But even with that, there are exceptions. And what are those? And this is a good one to know. Let's say that you went crazy and spent 4 days cursing the world, right? I think we've all done it occasionally, just mad at the world. The world is really messed up. I have no idea what I'm even doing here. So that's not great energy to put out. And maybe it's occurred to you that you want to shift that. How do you do it? You remove yourself from that energy and you step into this light grid that I was talking about, this sense of gratitude, this sense of asking for forgiveness, this sense of releasing yourself from that pattern of needing to curse the world, letting that go. So, is there any part of you that's kind of mad or cursing the world right now? Go ahead and pull that into a healing circle right in front of you so you can have a sense of it. Invite that part forward that's really angry at the world. And there's nothing wrong with being angry at the world. We just don't want to be stuck in it. We don't want it to poison us. We want it to flow through. So again, we're going to hold this unconditional loving light for this. So if you come from a channeling background, think of what you channel as a benevolent universe, a universe that has your back. And when you need to source more energy, like you're not self-creating it here, you need to reach up and grab it. Both are valid, both work. Go ahead and think of that giant sphere in the sky as a benevolent universe specifically for you that knows you, what you need, and is willing to offer it without any conditions. So go ahead and let that energy stream down right into your body and your greater sphere, which is about arm's length wide, right? It's your bubble, your creative bubble. I had a question about the United States, and I'm happy to answer those. If you have them, if you have others, I can put them together. You can go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm going to go into the letter that I sent. Okay. Okay. So Moses had a staff. If you've studied Moses, he had the staff. Merlin had a staff. And what is the great thing about having a staff? It is a focused energy, right? It's like a spiritual tool. And also, if you're not walking well, you have a staff. But think of it as a spiritual tool that holds a dedicated energy connecting heaven and earth, right? So in your mind's eye, you can create or hold a staff. You can decorate it any way you want. You can have crystals, in it. You can put an animal spirit energy in it. You can use feathers, whatever feels right to you on your staff. So in your mind's eye, if you use a staff, it kind of immediately connects you to heaven and earth, both energies working together. And it works a little bit like our centeredness or our midline. There is a spiritual connection that helps hold us together physically, mentally, and spiritually, and in balance. And when we infuse our staff, we want that balance there, the balance of body, mind, and spirit. And I like to add creativity. All right. Why don't you take a minute or two and just decorate your staff? Just go ahead and put it together. Infuse it. Ask the universe to infuse it with what you want. And I want you to also infuse it with your deepest values. What is it that you value? Justice, equal opportunity, health, happiness, whatever it is, go ahead and infuse that. I want your staff to assist you with this sponging of energies. Even sponges in the ocean don't sponge up. They don't take in all the difficult energy and hold it. And the only reason you would want to do that is if you are immediate at transmuting it. But it's not even an excellent way to do it because it's so much more efficient to do it outside of yourself because you're not clugging your own system up, right? So the light that you grab from the benevolent universe stream through your body can also be streamed towards anything that could use a cleanse, a little light. Now, if we're talking about another person, you may not have, it may not feel right or be right to just infuse that person. You'd have to check in with that. But you can always put light close to something that is dense or difficult. Not so the density can take the light and do something with it, but so the light stands firm with just a reminder of what the density can turn back into. All right? Okay. I'm not seeing any questions. So I want to go back to those patterns, and then I just have a few other things unless more questions come. The question I had earlier was a difficult relationship with a mother where constantly going back to the mom and the mom putting on a guilt trip and the person just feels terrible every time it happens and it doesn't really progress anywhere. It's just this constant attempt to dominate the daughter and make her feel so terrible she'll continue to come back and try to participate in the family the way the mother wants to, as opposed to what she actually wants to offer or can offer in a healthy way. It's a very unhealthy relationship. So, what does that take? That takes finding that inner feminine within that will nourish us and substituting what we think of as a mother energy for our own divine internal feminine energy, the inner mother. Now, if you work with Kuan Yin, you work with Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, that also can work. Just allow that energy of that cares, that actually does care about you and your success to show up. Okay. Um, so in the chat, my narcissistic mother died. And since then, my whole life is frozen. I'm stuck, cannot go further, cannot walk. My knees hurt very, very much. Thank you. Okay. All right. So for anyone on the call who feels like they have a little bit of something like this within, perhaps another narcissistic personality is kind of merged with them, or you've merged with it, and it's kind of operating in this destructive way in your psyche. We want to clear that out. So we can clear it out energetically, and that often gives relief to the mind, and then the mind begins to release it, and the spirit begins to release it. But we want to substitute it. We want to substitute what isn't working for what is healthy. Okay? So when we reach the benevolent universe, we're asking for specific help, and it may feel differently for different people. I'm going to use rose gold for everyone, which is the opposite of what I just said, but I know that is almost medicine for this sort of situation. But whatever's right for you, I want you to pull that energy in. It might just be a memory. Maybe you've solved it, but there's just a little bit of this memory left. Okay. Breathe. So I'm going into every pattern that is being held in your energy field that prevents you from moving, from walking, from being your best self. And we're going to delete those. We're going to let those leave your energy system. The mind feels, you can let me know if this feels right to you, but it feels like there's a little frozen grief in there for what you never got, for what you don't have. I have Kuan Yin behind us here. I'm going to pull her in for you in your energy field, if you'll say yes to that, if that feels right. And, if you had a narcissistic mother, you're probably used to invasive energy. So I don't want to repeat that pattern with you. So I'm going to ask you to say yes to anything that I offer, and I will be happy to give it to you. But I want you to say yes and create it yourself. I want you to also be part of your healing, to say yes, that you accept something different. You're not less than. People who have survived these relationships are pretty remarkable people. Beautiful. So frozen grief is probably another thing that's going on, this grief that needs to move You haven't quite let go of it because letting go would mean you never get what you wanted from her. And I'm going to suggest that that is true for who she was in her human life. You can create a relationship with her on the other side, but for now, create the energy that you're starved for from the benevolent universe and pull that in and hold those little child parts of you that never got it. So there's some baby steps. I'll be sending out something for a session soon. If you want to talk privately about that, we can do that. I think there's at least a little bit of relief there. Okay. All right. So I was talking about the spaghetti strings earlier. I was getting that there's less than a 10% chance that United States split apart. So I'm not going to go further in that. I absolutely can see a reality where everything really falls apart. And believe me, there are forces that want that to happen. But it's not in motion so strongly at this moment. So I'm going to say, because that is lower, that there's a lot of opportunity to self correct that, to pull us into a united group in spirit again, in faith again, because it's a bit broken at the moment. All right, so Colleen was asking about the US Canada relationship, Mark Carney with Trump, Canada's sovereignty and economy. I think worldwide, we're going to have quite a bit of economic issue. I do think that when the United States drops, it will have a ripple effect, which will probably drop the United States again. How long will this last? It could be months, but it also could be quite a bit longer. And it really depends on actions being taken now, and if people are willing to be brave. And we're not seeing enough of that quite yet. I do feel conversations in the background where people are wondering how far are we going to let this destruction happen, because it is a bit of a suicide of a superpower here that we're all observing, living through. Mark Carney feels to me to be quite good for Canada. And I think even the deals that Trump feels he wins, there was something in the background that turns out to be a little better for Canada than might be readily apparent. So I feel pretty good about it from that strength, although I do feel economies are going to hurt. I think when the bond market falls, the dollar continues to drop, the tariffs step in, people are screaming, to come off the US currency worldwide. Someone's going to step in. Some people care about their money more than anything. And I think that's likely when it's going to happen. And I'm hoping sooner than later, but we'll see. I think Canada's doing fine. I think everyone knows how to work with Trump. Who wants to, and is, and for the good of their nations, they're all, doing what they need to do to keep his, tortured mind in the best that they can. He's not doing well health wise, and he's definitely in a decline on every level that I can see. He's never really been good at economics, as far as I can tell, just from listening to him over the last 40 years. It's just he's gotten away with so much. All right. Anything else? All right. Let me go through my notes quickly because I wrote some down, make sure I covered what I said I was going to cover. My little dog, Phoebe, got my glasses, kicked them around the pavers, so I can barely read out of them. Memories, rapid change. Yes, we're definitely going to do that. All right. Let's see. Go ahead and step into a memory of rapid change. And that could be like when you went to college, when something happened in your family, you moved. You can use something in history, even something you didn't live in, like the first car, or maybe in Aztec, the first time a ship from Spain arrived, something kind of wild, but in the human historical record, something that you believe happened where there's just so much change happening. And I want you to have this sense of what that would be like. So see your sphere, be strong in your sphere, and outside of your sphere, something different is happening. So feel what that's like. You're solid, you're aligned, you're connected, you're in your flow, but outside of yourself, something big has just occurred. Might be a little shocking. Our first thought is perhaps rejected. Maybe what's happening isn't happening, but stay centered. Stay in your space. Now, if memories are coming up and those shocking events, you never really quite resolved, take a breath and allow the memories to release. Those are easier to deal with because you know how it ended. You're still here, you're still breathing, right? But now you don't know how it's going to end. We're all hopeful. We all believe it's going to get better if everyone does their part. But just allow, and if you use essential dolphin energy, something I'm big on, you can allow those kind of invisible in your mind's eye dolphins to swim around your sphere and help escort out those patterns, that sense of shock, that sense of uncertainty, and allow your courage to rise. Where this is an amazing opportunity. This is a clean slate where we really can create things better than we did with less of the past that drug us down. We really have a great opportunity. Let's see what we do with it. But it's not going to go far unless we have courage, right? Unless we're okay to stay in our strength. All right, very good. So this is an exercise you can do anytime. Like things are happening too fast. I can't believe that happened. Stay in your strength. Notice it outside of you. It's not invading you. It's out there. You are a brave person. You're not in denial. You're not pretending it means nothing. But you are able to be who you are, even in that shadow event, even in that terrible event. Right? You still are strong. It doesn't defeat you. It doesn't crush you. It doesn't collapse you. You are strong. All right. Now, do you need more? Go ahead and bring in angelic energy or animal spirit energy just to be around your sphere. You can use bears if you want. Bear is like a great mother bear to hold you in love, but also to protect. You get to be you. You get to be you. Chaos is opportunity, and never forget that. Let it work in your favor. Let the universe work in your favor and hold that as a value. You want to be deeply grounded in the values you hold. And some of these sayings, like the attitude of gratitude, chaos is an opportunity, my values matter, go ahead and hold those in your sphere and let them grow. Just like we did that unconditional light we did for the folks in Texas, just let it grow. I need to check this chat here. Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys, for subscribing. I appreciate that. The shark energy. Okay. What about the shark energy, AK? Are we talking about like animal spirit shark energy? I'm assuming you are, unless you say something else. Okay, so yes, okay. So So sharks are very interesting. They're apex predators just like dolphins are. Dolphins often kind of eat sharks for lunch. Um, and then we have great white sharks, we have whale sharks, we have all kinds of sharks. When I'm thinking of shark energy, I'm thinking of, um, I immediately go to Jaws because, for a while I was afraid to take a bath. That was just a crazy movie, but it made people think a certain way about sharks. But what are sharks in the ocean? They're the cleanup crew. They eat they eat what needs to be eaten out of the ocean. Now they're not. They don't kill just to kill. They don't do that. They have sharp teeth, but they're the cleanup, kind of like buzzards, right? Condors are buzzards. Let's go back into essential shark energy. What do we have here? Okay, a great protective energy. You can use it that way if you're facing someone that you need to need to hold your own with. This sense of anything going on about that person that is not helpful, the shark energy will go ahead and eradicate. That doesn't mean you're harming someone else, just a dense energy it might diffuse. I like dolphin energy better, but it will let you do whatever you want. Let's see. I'm going to go deeper into that AK because, you know, I love spider energy too, and people were kind of freaked about spiders. Um, so, what I'm getting from shark is the strength, a strong spine, a sense of holding your own. Sharks in the water just sort of keep going, keep going, keep going. They're able to have a steady path, if that's helpful. Those are some of the attributes of essential shark energy as an animal spirit. Kind of the steadiness, like we were talking about the staff energy. It's it's like it's definitely connected to the benevolent universe, and a shark energy is, keeps going in the water, right? It's not going to get too distracted. So it might be very good for energy that you want to focus. I think it might be helpful there. Now, a lot of people use shark. This is kind of sad, really, but they are kind of harming a lot of sharks for medicinal purposes. So if you feel strongly that there is something in shark energy that's helpful for cartilage, as an example, you can go ahead and kind of infuse yourself with that kind of energy. All right, very good. All right, any other questions here? So, I'd like to thank you. I mean, this is the first time I've tried this, and I appreciate you showing up and helping me out. We'll do it again. All right, I don't see any others. So we've been on about 48 minutes. Um, and next time, just go ahead and bring your questions, and we'll get to as many as we can. My job, as I see it, is to help people remain steady through the chaos out here. So steady and growth, right? Because we can't just maintain. This world requires us to improve, to progress, to evolve, and that's what I want to help us do together as a group. All right. Yes, resilience. Absolutely. Um, Resilience is also one of my favorite words. Um, every cell in your body must be resilient. If your diet is off, you must have a resilience to bounce back. If you get a virus, you need to be able to bounce back. Resilience, I love it. It's so important. So I also would like to suggest everyone be a little careful out there. We're going to have a lot more viral energy coming up, and so anyway, just throwing that out there. You might need to just be a little more aware of your surroundings for a while. Late this summer, or actually kind of now. I was reading someone recently passed from COVID again, and you know That's still there. So to close up, everyone go ahead and take some more breaths. And if there's something I said that didn't kind of set right, go ahead and let that leave. Breathe that through. Let what doesn't work fall into the mud below your feet. Affirm your connections to heaven and earth. And let's do an infusion. I'm going to use this essential energy here. I'm going to call it dolphin energy, but you can make it angelic energy if that works best for you. Go ahead and pull that in. And breathe. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. So I think our next step is I publish this and you can come back and re-listen to it, or I appreciate your referrals. I'll be sending out something for sessions and programs soon. I plan on having a new program by fall. I'll be traveling a lot in August. So if you're looking for a session, try to get it in this month or late August. All right. Aloha and ahui ho.